Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Duval Dive. Of course, I'm Kyle Nash, the student of the game of Fans for Sports Network.
And I'm Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com.
See, something about being 2-1, Travis, as we bring you this thing here on the Believe Podcast Network. I actually got the intro right this week. Apparently, I'm used to getting CTE watching Britton Strange knock that dude right in his face. But welcome in there, all you Duval divers, all you Duval devout. As we go through, your Jacksonville Jaguars officially have retained a winning record after beating the Houston Texans. I'm going to go a little off script. I'm going to ask you, as the card-carrying member of the Duval devout, yourself, Travis. Ryan, a.k.a. Hacker on 1010XL, made a point.
My guy.
Cool guy. That it's no longer the Tennessee Titans that are the Jags' rival. It is the Houston Texans. Do you believe in this statement?
Oh, wow. I mean, that's a hard one because it's kind of hard to have a rival if it's just like you're just beating them up. Like if they're not good, it's no fun, right? Like we hated the Tennessee Titans even when they weren't good, but the Jaguars weren't like going up in stature, becoming a better team. You know what I mean? Now it feels like it's more of a competition, especially after the Trevor Lawrence hit, that it's put it into a new stratosphere. It's probably got to be the Houston Texans. I think Hacker got it right there.
Yeah, the Al-Shaair hit, huge part of it. I think that's really what is the crowning jewel. And then you have the piece where at least the past two games, the Texans feel like they're just sneaking by, even though they're allegedly the better team. I listen, as the guy looking relatively outside, from the outside, I should say, I agree with the take as well. I just wanted to get your 2 cents on it as we get off this ground. So, listen, you'll notice I don't have a red cap or a red jersey or a gold jersey or anything normal 49er gear out of pure respect for those members of the Duval Devout that listen to the Duval Dive, because the 49ers are your opponent next week, but I don't want to focus too much on previewing them yet. There'll be plenty of time for that. However, there is something I wanted to touch on from this game, and I wish I had the foresight to download the theme from MASH, because the injury list is a long thing. If you don't mind, Travis.
I mean, if you've seen my article on BigCatCountry.com, you know just how long it is. Like that article, the fact of the matter is the San Francisco 49ers have, to your point, that MASH list that you're referencing. It is so long. I mean, goodness gracious. Like for an injury report on a Wednesday, that is something. But if you haven't checked it out, absolutely go to BigCatCountry.com. Check it out. But for the Jaguars side of things, Dyami Brown was the main person that everyone was kind of just waiting on to find out what was happening with them on Monday's post-game presser. Coach Liam Coen stated that they didn't have any updates at that time. On Wednesday, he's again stated that he had no additional updates. Dyami Brown left Sunday's game against Houston with a shoulder injury, and he didn't practice Wednesday, and he wasn't seen on the field during the open time for the media. Running back Bashaw Tootin did practice in a limited fashion wearing a red non-contact jersey, but he was also limited last week with that shoulder injury. So for the most part, it's a reasonably good situation for the Jacksonville Jaguars as far as the injury, side of things is concerned. Now, again, we told you about that long list on the San Francisco 49ers side of things, and okay, here we go. So you got Nick Bosa. You got Nick Bosa, who's reportedly out for the season. And I do say reportedly out for the season and not just officially out, because as of this time, as I'm speaking right now, Nick Bosa has not been placed on actual IR. They haven't actually said that he's officially out, even though it seems very obvious that he is out for this week's game due to that ACL that was torn in week 3's game. George Kittle's on injured reserve with a hamstring injury. Brock Purdy missed the last 2 games with his turf toe issue, but he was also limited on Wednesday's practice. So that may be a good situation for the 49ers. Again, we'll see. And Mac Jones, former Jacksonville Jaguar, Mac Jones, Mac who? He is also dealing with a knee injury. He's been dealing with a knee injury since training camp. That put him on the injury report entering week 3's game, but he re-aggravated that injury during week 3. So he was also limited as well. I'm taking a breath just for a second, but I'm not done yet. Ricky Pearsall didn't practice on Wednesday, but he did tell the media that he has some knee soreness and that his expectation was to practice throughout the week and likely be okay to go against Jacksonville.
And who was that? I think I was laughing over the name. That's my bad.
Goodness, Ricky Pearsall.
Gotcha.
You got Juwan Jennings, who was also did not practice on Wednesday due to an ankle and a shoulder injury. Again, it's a long list. Head over to bigcatcountry.com. Take a look at it. But again, we're talking a lot of the star players who are either out or already questionable. You're talking multiple, even role players who also may be a little bit hobbled for the San Francisco 49ers. I know this is a normal thing for the 49ers being injured earlier and late in the season. Historically, it just kind of seemed to be their forte. And they still somehow find a way to be a gritty bunch. But yeah, you got defensive tackle CJ West. He's going to reportedly undergo thumb surgery because he suffered an injury in Week 3's victory against the Arizona Cardinals also. Bernardo Green was limited. Leonore, the defensive back, he was also limited with an illness, and offensive liner Connor Colby was limited on Wednesday. That's the most I'm going to give you. That's not everyone, just to be very clear, but that's what we got. So if you're wondering how that's going to potentially impact the game, I don't think I have to kind of spell this out for you. Again, we're talking about a Pro Bowl tight end who's on injured reserve. We're talking about a quarterback, Brock Purdy, who I believe Brock Purdy is also a Pro Bowl quarterback. Am I mistaken for 2023?
I believe that's accurate. Yes.
Yeah, a Pro Bowl quarterback who may or may not play. We're talking about an all-pro defensive end and Nick Bosa, who's not playing in the game. We got maybe a limited Ricky Pearsall and another receiver who's going to be at minimum not 100%. Across the board, you have a lot of injuries that can absolutely dramatically impact this game. But also on the positive side of things, for San Francisco, I haven't heard many people talk about the fact that Demarcus Robinson will be returning from his 3-game suspension this week for the 49ers. So they will get a little bit of help in that receiver room. So they've actually been doing this whole 3-0 thing without that receiver at least, and also without Brandon Ayuk, who's on the PUP list. So they've been seriously limited and still are 3-0 because that's that whole gritty thing I was talking about. So you're the San Francisco 49er here, sir. So do you have any observations from this ridiculous injury report?
Well, gosh, you said it best. It feels like a kind of a tradition to have this much going on in the in the injury report, but it's never. If it's this early, it's typically the defense. This isn't the first time the Niners have been without their starting quarterback, but I mean, what does Kyle Shanahan do more than get the best out of his guy, no matter who it is throwing the damn ball? I mean, what was it? I think it was 22, where they only got stopped by the Eagles once Christian McCaffrey was forced to play emergency quarterback. By the way, the guy who happens to be healthy, Christian McCaffrey. So that's something that we'll certainly be talking about in our preview episode down the line here on Friday. And I mentioned that because shouts to my dude, PJ Brown, who's already dropping his prediction, 24-13 Jags, by the way. PJ, I don't know if you're betting this game. Don't. But, I like that you're getting your prediction in. And I'll give you this much to lead. I like that you have a relatively low-scoring affair in this game. I think you're accurate there as well. But now that we see all the stuff that's gone wrong for San Francisco. By the way, let's be clear. They're a Marvin Harrison Jr. drop away from losing that 16-15 victory over the Cardinals. Let's not act like the Niners are world beating anybody. I'm not saying they're a bad team. I'm not saying they'll miss the playoffs outright, but this is not the Super Bowl contending team that you've come to know out there in San Francisco. Especially, listen, this is the opposite of The Last Dance. Instead of getting The Last Dance, they sprained their ankle coming out on the dance floor, it looked like. Sure, they might put on a show for a bit, but at days in, I don't think they're going to win any dance contest. There is no silver lining to this playbook. Wow, that was a stretch. So, but I'm not saying that this is a guaranteed Jags victory, but this would be a good week to clean things up and make a statement that you just don't beat bad teams.
Interesting. So you consider the 49ers a bad team, but you also are an actual fan or supporter of the 49ers.
Now, hold on. Let's walk that back. First of all, yes, I am a Niner fan. Second, I said they're a playoff team. I didn't say they were a bad team.
Fair.
Yeah,
Okay,
they beat
my
the
apologies.
49ers. This is the first time they would have beaten a team that's not a bad team. Yes,
That's
I'm
not
calling
a
the
bad team.
Texans a bad team. Yes, I'm calling the Carolina Panthers a bad team. The Bengals became a bad team thanks to the
Thanks to the Jaguars.
But we don't need to talk more about all that going on and horrible ref calls. And can you imagine the storylines if Travis Hunter made the game-winning pass defended? Come on, man. Anyway.
Yeah, man.
Let's get back on track with that. I just wanted to say it out loud. So, by the way, PJ Brown in the comments, $100 on the Jags. We'll keep track of that with you, buddy. I warned you not to bet it, but you would not have it. I guess I got there too late, is what I'm saying. Shouts to Troy Hesters, who's in the comments saying hello. And he brings up that San Francisco is always tough for us. But it's probably the best time to get them. I think there's some there. We'll break that down more in the preview episode coming this week.
I do think that's accurate. This is if you're going to play against the 49ers, this is absolutely the best time to play them. And we just rattled off that list of how many high, you're talking top players that they're missing this week, or even potentially missing this week. And even if the guys are playing, they may be seriously limited. Like, all right, yeah, you're not wrong there. But a win's a win on the NFL schedule to that point. Sure. So, if you can get the win, and you can let the media and everyone else kind of argue about how significant that win is down the line. Just get the W on the schedule.
3-1 is nice in the first four, obviously. By the way, that list is so long. I think this is the first time I've seen Travis D. Holmes go for the oxygen just from reading the list. It was that long. Anyways.
Yeah, man. That was something. That was rough.
And playing the 49ers, the one thing that they still have mostly intact, even without Bosa, I think they're used to performing without Bosa. It obviously sucks if you're a 49er fan that he's out, but Fred Warner's still a thing. That defense isn't exactly a pushover up front. They're secondary. But when it comes to the Jags, another defensive struggle. I feel like we alluded to this in the Duval Dive Live on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I even mentioned it in the good, the bad, and the spotty about how crucial the defense was for the Jags. And to give the Texans defense a little credit, sure, the Jags shot themselves in the foot, but the Texans defense did their part as well, to make it difficult. I think both things were true in a certain element. But with that being said, this past Sunday might have been training for the upcoming Sunday. What lessons do you learn from Sunday against the Texans to bring against D'Amico Ryan's former team, the 49ers?
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter that it's coming against D'Amico Ryan's old team, you're probably then going to be seeing a lot of a similar, responses to the Jacksonville Jaguars run game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about the fact that on the instant reaction Duval dive, that Liam Coen in his post game availability discussed the fact that the Jaguars, they were caught off guard by how often the Houston Texans had that 5-man big 5 front, where it kind of it messed up their landing, as far as that's concerned with the blocking. It messed up, their angles as far as that's concerned, and just having the 5-on-5, turning a lot of those zone, rushes into man blocking just because they had not much of a choice. Right. And they kind of had to figure out how they were going to counter, all of those bigger bodies on the field every time they put themselves into a 2 tight end set on offense. So they just weren't ready for countering what that looked like. And that, in addition, this was also the first game of the season where the Jacksonville Jaguars faced, more extra safeties in the box, less too high safeties, situations. Well, right. So it's going to be interesting because the 49ers actually do historically play a lot more too high safety. So it could end up benefiting the Jaguars, but also maybe not, because the 49ers are absolutely a much better team at stopping the run, even without that second safety down in the box. But just seeing that D'Amico Ryan's defense had so much success against the Jaguars in week 3, they probably would. If I'm the 49ers, I'm probably adding that extra man to the box and making Jacksonville show me that they can perform better than they performed in the opening half on the ground against the Houston Texans. And if they can't, then you're kind of, the Jacksonville Jaguars are kind of stuck, because without that run game, it makes it a lot harder to do everything. It makes it harder for play action. It makes it harder to just keep your offense on the field, keep everything going, third downs, etc.
100%. And I think the key element of that is, and we got it here in the comments, PJ Brown did the timing is good. And if our offense can limit the drops and penalties, we should definitely win this game. Unfortunately, PJ, the way the things have gone in the first 3 weeks and a larger portion of the preseason, as we've been talking about it since, that's a big damn if. Is it time for the graphic from our friend Dan Griffiths? I think it's time to get that beast in here.
Sure.
And
all right. So
okay.
Dan Griffiths, Action Sports Jags, man. Our guy, man. Like, yeah, he's doing great work. If you haven't seen this deep dive article, talking about the Jaguars being their own worst enemy that came out, I believe it was Tuesday night. Definitely go to Action Sports Jags to take a look at it. But he says the Jacksonville Jaguars miscues so far in this 2025 season. I'm going back in time. Good Lord. Is the Jaguars have 13 drops on offense, which is the most in the NFL, a 25% drop rate in the red zone, 15 offensive penalties, which is tied for the most in the NFL, 4 interceptions, which is tied for the second most. Specifically, Trevor Lawrence is 14 of 31, which is a 36% completion rate of passing for 10 plus yards. He's 0 out of 8, which is 0% passing for 20 plus yards. And he has a 62% catchable pass rate on passes over 10 yards, which is 22nd in the NFL. Now, data from Next Gen Stats and Fantasy Points.
Now, for clarity, for those that are out there, Kyle, sorry, you were talking. Travis, BTJ caught a 46-yard pass. We're talking about where the ball traveled greater than that distance. And I think part of the little, I don't want to call it a rant, but your monologue from the Duval Dive Live that made the shorts on the Duval Dive YouTube channel, by the way, and all the socials, was you very eloquently, I'm mad, not angry, just demanding more as somebody who follows the team should. What was it you said? Trev, this ain't it, bro. And you're right. 0 for 8 downfield balls where I have been talking about an inverted red zone set with De'Ami Brown, Travis Hunter, and BTJ for how many damned months, Travis, right? Like, this is a legitimate call out.
It is, and that we just need the wire. We need. There's a lot going on. I mean, honestly, we're talking about the drops, and that's its own conversation. We're talking about the penalties, and that's its own conversation because, again, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers struggle with penalties, learning this offensive penalties specifically. We know that it's just a complicated offense, and there's 3 different things all compiling going on at the same time. But the fact of the matter is they're still going through all of that, and they're 2-1. Like, you have to take a step back and still say, yes, they are going through a lot. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to learn a new system. They're trying to get on the same page offensively, primarily the receivers and the quarterback. But all throughout this, they are still 2-1. The offense is still putting up some really solid numbers overall. I know they had a rougher day on Sunday, but overall they are generally good. And they're still learning. They're still growing. And that's the whole point of all this, is not to necessarily be negative. It's just to be honest about where everything is. And that means you sometimes will have to say, hey, they're dropping a lot of balls. And also the quarterback's being inaccurate. And also there's a lot of miscommunications going on at the same time, because all of this is happening at the same time. And it's not throwing shade at Trevor Lawrence. It's not throwing shade at the receiver corps, or any specific receiver. It is simply saying the objective truth, because we all have eyes and we all see the film and we all know that that is not the aiming point. And if you're okay with where the current product on the field is offensively, then you have low standards. And that's okay if you have low standards. Just you can't change my standards, because my standards are higher for this Trevor Lawrence-led team and this all Jacksonville Jaguars offense. And that's where I'm landing.
And I think another part worth bringing up, Carlos Reyes says here in the comments, I know they look not great, Bob, but I just can't help but feel last year they would have crumbled after Trevor's interception last game. That alone feels like progress. Yeah, what we've established, and I think we kind of predicted it happening once we saw some things, is that this coaching staff is better, Carlos. I don't think that's a matter of debate so much. As a matter of fact, a sign that that's the case is it's not even coming up in conversation. Fans of the Jacksonville Jaguars as a 4-win team last year are already My crack-headed take is something look like a prediction that's being stymied by the fact that Danny Dimes and the Colts are doing things that no one expected. Though I definitely didn't expect the Broncos to miss that field goal either, so they found a fifth win on the schedule. Anyways, yeah, okay. I said what I said. But no, and listen, joking aside, I am as a football fan, I'm curious to see what the Colts do when they actually play somebody. I'm not even meaning that in a negative context, but going to work on the Titans just don't impress me much. What's their other win? I forget. Is it the Giants? I forget. Anyways,
I haven't paid enough attention. I'm drawing a blank right now.
The Broncos isn't bad, but they're kind of underperforming themselves too, for whatever that's worth. So,
True. I got you. But also, I forgot to mention earlier, like the San Francisco did hold the Arizona Cardinals to 3.8 yards a carry. And now I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. The Cardinals are a good run team. I know they lost Connor to injury in that game, right. But they are generally a good run team, especially with the quarterback running also. So the fact that they held them to 3.8 a carry is a little interesting, and I'm ready to look a lot deeper into the numbers on Friday's Duval Dive when we preview this game, because I think it's going to be a lot different than the original stats say, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, injuries change games like that for sure. And yeah, I don't even know what more I could add to it than that. But I know we're talking a lot about receiver miscues and a lot of things going on. And we've talked at length about Brian Thomas Jr. and kind of, I don't want to say I do want to say his role in the struggles, right? I mean, how many of those 8 drops check that. Well, we'll just stick with the drops rather than speculating, right? The Jags lead the league in drops. That's undeniable.
Sure.
Yeah. At this juncture, right? And BTJ is a big part of that, right? The previous game, what was it? He had 4 for 12. In this one, it wasn't that bad. It was 2 for 6. But go ahead, Travis.
No, I think you're not wrong. Like, drops are a huge part of this conversation, and again, we're going to get talk about that a little bit, not as much, because the fact of the matter is they got to get that right. And Coach Coen in his Wednesday post practice availability talked about the fact that they're now practicing catching the ball even on run plays, the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they'll run as the guys are running back to the huddle. They're having the quarterbacks or the coaches throw the balls to the guys just to get that confidence level back up, and just getting that habit back up into making sure guys are just consistently catching the ball, because this was an issue that we didn't see necessarily across the entire offense in training camp. It was primarily an issue for one guy in one day, and then it'd be a different guy another day or something like that. You expect to see those kinds of things, but it's been a little much as of late, specifically this past Sunday. So I can understand why this team is just trying to get it figured out and get guys' confidence levels back up to kind of shore up this leakage that we call drops for the Jacksonville Jaguars team.
But the main reason I bring that up is there's 9 receivers total making a catch in that game. That's 8 other dudes that caught a football. Okay. So to me, I got to shout out Jimmy Stones for being able to overcome in the aggregate your star guys struggling like that. I mean, the way he's brought in dudes, the way he's drafted running backs who could catch, the way that Brenton Stranger's come along, which, I know he's a bulky draftee, but the way he's been, the way Jimmy Stones has brought in guys to block and knew that Brenton Strange was his all-around guy, to bring in other receivers. The Tim Patrick thing was amazing. Sure. The only way he could have done a better job collecting this crew of guys that can catch the ball is if he used ZipRecruiter. That's right. ZipRecruiter is how you hire people for your organization and or business. And let me tell you, Travis, the way they handle things is so you don't have to spend so much time sifting through resumes, trying to find the right candidate. And you got thousands of stacks of resumes or thousands of files or your computer you're trying to look through. All that life made a lot easier if you're using ZipRecruiter. The future of hiring looks much brighter because ZipRecruiter's tools and features help speed up finding the right people for your roles and save you valuable time. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/audio.
Well, and you can ZipRecruiter is going to always be available for you guys to help you find the most qualified candidates in minutes. You can, if you find the right candidate, the perfect candidate, the perfect guy you're looking for your organization, you can unlock their contact information immediately. They have over 300,000, actually, I believe it's over 320,000 if you want to be exact, resumes that are added to the site every month. So you can find those potential candidates sooner, quicker, faster, kind of get these guys in the door and just kind of keep this thing moving. So that's why ZipRecruiter is rated the #1 hiring site based on G2. Head out to ziprecruiter.com/audio and kind of just get this thing started, get these guys in the door and help you find the right guys to help your organization. But again, that's ziprecruiter.com/audio. So you can use ZipRecruiter and save time hiring, because 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And if you go to ziprecruiter.com/audio right now, you can try it for free. Again, if you didn't hear me, if this ain't coming through too clear, ziprecruiter.com/audio. That's ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Yeah, listen, and I get it. This isn't me giving anybody a pass, but I know that there's a lot of people that would be like, but Kyle, those are screen passes most of the time. That's to get PJ Brown off the back. That's how they're running the ball as well, PJ. They're doing it with screen pass. No, but you're right. The run is working great for him, PJ. I agree with that. 100.
I mean, the fact of the matter is the Jaguars are averaging just over 7 screens per game, or 7 passes behind the line of scrimmage per game. So that there is some there to those arguments when folks say, hey, well, his completion percentage should be higher because it's a lot of screen passes, or or the incompletions or the off-target throws, and all of these conversations. The fact of the matter is a Sean McVay offense, so there are going to be a lot of screens, no different than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, no different than the Minnesota Vikings, etc. The Jaguars have thrown 22 passes behind the line of scrimmage in 2025. That's a lot when you're having those conversations, and it's not disingenuous to at least add it to the conversation to kind of get a full scope or full view of what this looks like. I get it.
Yeah, 100%. Let me get some of these comments here. Timmy Devil, what's up, buddy? You're saying the QB has been inaccurate is blasphemy. Brent Martineau said he didn't see any inaccuracies. Oh, my God.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great comment. Thank you, Timmy Devil. I appreciate this. Yeah. Since there was no inaccuracy, we obviously could not find film to say that there were inaccurate passes, right? Right?
Go on.
Right? All right, cool. So, one of our topics to talk about today anyways was just discussing the explosive passing plays, 10 yards plus down the field, and how the wide receivers and the quarterback just kind of got to get on the same page. All right, cool. We know they got to get on the same page. So Parker Washington was able to get 11 targets in this game. And for whatever reason, probably for that reason, because it was 11 targets, he became a lightning rod for a lot of comments from the fantasy football community, Jaguars, Twitter at large, just because he only caught 4 of those balls. And in my head, I'm like, well, that sucks for Parker, because I know he did have the drops, the 2 drops, basically the 1 drop, if you want to argue, and then that's a whole nother conversation. So let's talk about it. Parker Washington had 7 incompletions, and I counted each of them, and I counted 3.5 of them that were on the quarterback, 2.5, and I say a half because it's a shared responsibility. I want to be clear. Everything's not. We need nuance. You guys are the Duval dive. You are people who I consider ball knowers because you listen to us, and I think we know ball. So which means it's not always going to be just one guy's fault. Sometimes it's going to be both. Like on this play, for instance, this play that we just watched with Parker Washington going across the middle of the field. This play, this ball is late, but also Parker Washington should have been able to slow it down there when he is open. At that point, he has to sit in the zone because he is open. He is high school wide open, and he keeps going into the boundary corners zone. So Trevor Lawrence is also late with the throw. Both things can be true.
Correct.
And Trevor Lawrence, to his benefit, actually throws it on Parker Washington's backside to help him avoid the contact.
Wait a minute. You mean it wasn't a hospital ball?
So all the things can be true. Trevor can be, attempting to save his receiver from taking a big hit, but he also can be late on the throw, and he also can throw an interception into double coverage that shouldn't have been thrown. And he also could have thrown, and he had a ball tipped at the line of scrimmage also. So overall, we're looking at one ball that of Parker Washington, just Parker Washington's incompletions. One was tipped at the line of scrimmage. That's not Parker Washington's fault. One was an off-target out route with little separation from Parker Washington. I consider that a shared responsibility on both of those guys because it was an incompletion, but it was also thrown out of bounds. He had an INT that was thrown into double coverage. He had an off-target deep ball, which we saw that on the replay. He had the underthrown back shoulder throw, and then you had the one clean drop that we just, that we talked about, the fourth quarter drop, and he had the one difficult drop that I consider that shared responsibility. Overall, you're talking about 7 incompletions, and more than half of them I put on the plate of the quarterback, and the other 2.5 I put on the receiver, and 2 of it's just being part of the game. That's just kind of what it is. But when we talk about the incompletions that I guess you guys are saying that Brett said he didn't see on the film, did we not see the Trevor Lawrence miss De'Ami Brown deep ball? Did we not see the missed Parker Washington deep ball where there was 7 yards of space to the right and the ball ends up being thrown to the opposite hash towards the other safety? Did we not see the back shoulder fade? I mean, it just shows you on the film, and the sideline throw to Parker Washington on the sideline, or the wide right Britton Strange out route, or the interception thrown into double coverage. Are you considering all of these accurate throws? I'm not burying Trevor. The wide receivers have drop issues. They have miscommunication issues, absolutely. But also, Trevor Lawrence has been inaccurate past 10 yards down the field. And both of these things are absolutely true. And I don't think anyone can lie to me and tell me the film says otherwise. Because we can look at it. We can have a whole session just looking at film. And you tell me what I'm seeing is not what I see. So, Trevor Lawrence is 13 of 26 in the intermediate areas right now. That's the 10-yard, the 19-yard area. He is 1 for 10 past 20 yards. And technically speaking, it was actually that he's really 0 for 9, if you want to be specific about it. They rounded that 19-yard catch up to 20 yards, whatever. Only one of those 10 were considered drops, and that was the BTJ catch, drop this past week, attempt over Stingley. And because of that, Sports Information Solutions has Trevor Lawrence tied with Aaron Rodgers and Michael Penix Jr. as at number 32 of all NFL qualified passers in passing the ball past 20 yards down the field. That is last in the NFL, passing the ball in 2025. I'm not making this a thing. It's objectively a thing. And I'm not trying to slam him. It's only 3 games, but it is something that they got to get right. They got to work on it, man.
So if you're saying, if Brett asks you if Trevor's playing his best ball already, your answer is Martin, no. Anyways.
Wow. All right, so we've had this argument in the different Jaguar socials over the past few days because everyone's, again, trying to make it a this or that. They're trying to make it a wide receiver drops or quarterback accuracy conversation. And again, that's just not fair. I don't think it's accurate. I don't think it's right to even have that conversation. The wide receivers lead the league in drops. That is a huge problem. It is absolutely a major problem. And Trevor Lawrence has also been off target. That is also a big problem. It is a huge problem. And I think we can walk and chew gum and we can have both conversations simultaneously. Like, he's had 14 off target throws in 3 games, pro Football Reference charting. So the team has got to get their plan together. They got to get their landing spots on routes figured out between the receivers and the quarterback. They got to get an equal understanding of if guys are going to sit in the zone or keep going through the zone area. And they have to also catch the ball and capitalize. That's talking to everyone, not just Trevor Lawrence, not just receivers. Right. Both of them combined, they got to get onto the right page, or this is just not going to work as far as getting this passing game on the right track.
I don't think you and I are in debate for that. And you mentioned that there's this duality out there. You and I are right smack in the middle. Hey guys, it's both. Timmy Devil has Timmy Devil has a question in the comments that I wanted to run past you. What's up with us always burning timeouts not running plays? It happened a lot last year too. I have my thoughts. Very simple, but I think it's a rookie head coach. Can it be any more simple than that?
I'm not even 100% sure it's just the head coach. I think it's the complex offense.
Okay.
I think it's the fact that the offense is hard to learn, so we end up trying to get guys lined up. I mean, the fact of the matter is we've seen the Jaguars are struggling with the pre-snap penalties. They're struggling with the illegal shifts. They're struggling occasionally with the false starts. They're trying to get their communication right. They have multiple plays that are able to be called or canned at the line of scrimmage. And ever so often, you might see a guy lining up in the wrong place and needing to be able to switch sides. So they had to call a timeout in this past game where you saw they're walking to the sideline and Trevor Lawrence is talking to one of the receivers. And I believe it was Travis Hunter also in the group, like with them. And they're all trying to figure out what was going on. When they called a timeout, they have the incompletion to Britton Strange on the rollout where Trevor Lawrence just throws it away and he immediately takes a beeline to Britton Strange and they start talking because they're trying to figure out something that happened. These guys are trying to figure out the complex offense, and it is a complex offense. But once you figure it out, it's a dope offense. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have shown us that. The Minnesota Vikings have shown us that. The Rams have absolutely shown us that. It is just not easy to initially learn, and that may be why they're limiting Travis Hunter's use, which was, again, something that Liam Coen mentioned in his Wednesday post-game availability, talking about the fact that his expectation for Travis Hunter at receiver is he's going to play that F role. And that's what he's going to be in this rookie season. They're not going to try to put too much on his plate, trying to learn all three wide receiver spots. They want, and folks keep asking about, well, what about Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter's early season usage and whatever. I was talking about this to a few of my guys earlier today. And they were just like, hey man, where are the deep balls? For Travis Hunter and for BTJ coming, the post, the go routes, etc. And my response then was like, hey man, the staff already told us in the training camp. They installed the full offense then. And all the fans who came out the training camp at that point, you all saw it. You saw the full scope of the offense. You've seen some of these deep balls. You've seen some of these post routes and go routes and all of that. And you haven't seen a lot of that in the games. And you have to ask yourself why. Obviously, they're struggling with pre-snap penalties. They're struggling with drops. They're struggling with the basic staples of this offense to keep these guys on the field and moving down the field, matriculating the ball, all those things that kind of have to be done right. And you're not going to give them the free out of just saying, all right, just go deep because you can't do the main things. If you can't get the main things right, we're not going to move on to the harder stuff until you can get this right. So they've tucked away a lot offensively from my perspective. And we just haven't seen a consistent enough offense on those staples to keep the chains moving, sitting down in the zone instead of running into coverage, consistently hitting your wide receivers on the chest on those underneath throws, hitting those deep balls when they are called to Parker Washington or De'Ami Brown, etc. So I think we're just going to see more of those go routes and those post routes. That I think they're on the way. I just think they're going to have to get those staples down first to earn the right to call those other plays, if that makes sense.
And yet, these Jacksonville Jaguars are 2-1, not playing their best football. That aspect of it is something that could be taken away as a positive, so long as they continue to grow. And I'll say that could be a point made in either direction here, because Rome 33 comes in. You guys are getting us at the right time with all the injuries. Obviously a Niner fan. The retort by Timmy Devil, Rome, y'all getting us at the right time. Our wide receivers can't catch a cold. But to your point, both could be true here again, right? The right time, if the receivers continue to make drops, will keep it close. The injuries for the Niners could be a big deal outside of the quarterback position. I said what I said. Please, once again, see what Kyle Shanahan can do with, yo mama at quarterback, for goodness sake. It's just amazing, But
Jaguars United said, what up, boys?
And as I was going to throw it in, Jason Trent, Jaguars United in the building here. Mentioned that Travis Hunter, that Trevor missed him big on a wheel route on the INT.
Oh yeah, if you guys missed Jaguars United's Tuesday film review, go on take a look. Jaguars United on YouTube. Go on check out my boy.
And Rodgers and Penix don't have the run game the Jags have. He doesn't need to throw it deep. I mean, that's the key to why they're 2-1, perhaps. But the way I'd counter that is you're throwing fewer balls deep. That means they're less expected. That means you're either throwing it when you're desperate or you're missing passes when the defense isn't expecting it. And that 0-8, by the way, I'm more leaning towards the latter. I'm just saying.
Okay. Yeah. But the Jaguars, to everyone's point, I mean, we know the injury is going to have a significant impact on this game. But at the end of the day, you got to win it. And we're going to have a great conversation on Friday. I'm already excited for it because I already got a few things I got to get off my chest anyway. It's just about all of it, about where the teams lie as far as the stats are concerned, but then what the film tells me the exact opposite of a lot of these stats on both of these teams. So I'm looking forward to it. Yep, and
You see
these
it
guys
too.
in the
Go
chat
ahead.
are going crazy. These guys in the chat are just going crazy, man.
Tapa
But
trying to get us,
Topa,
or Topa, sorry. Kyle and Trav, we need to hold a tryout for the wide receiver position, because if we're paying these guys millions to play the position and they drop in anyone in Jacksonville should be able to try out. Maybe that's the next step. I don't know.
can I ask this question though? Like, why do we? So I'm a former, I say former, and believe me, that former is doing some heavy lifting right now. Former high school receiver, so not even a great high school receiver, but nevertheless, I did play the position. Cool. And then was changed over to cornerback in college because hands need to be better. That makes total sense. And I don't like taking hits. Just that piece. But so
fair.
when folks have these expectations that a receiver must catch 100% of balls, why don't we give the same smoke to quarterbacks have to hit the guy in the chest 100% of the time? Why is it only receivers have these high expectations when you can take a receiver off the field? Hell, the Jacksonville Jaguars just took Brian Thomas Jr. off the field on 2, if not 3 third-down conversions in a one-score game against a division rival this past Sunday. We just saw it. But you're not taking Trevor Lawrence off that field. You're not taking your top quarterback. So if we're going to give the smoke to everyone, let's spread that sucker out equally. That's all I've ever talked about.
We're going to act like Trevor hasn't gotten smoked, though. Let's pump the brakes a tad bit.
No. I'm not trying to argue that Trevor's going to get more smoke. I'm saying everyone needs an equal amount. That's all. I don't like this quarterback bias that we do. If we're going to treat these guys like grown amen, then treat these guys like grown amen across the board. That's the receiver group. That is the quarterback. That is the cornerbacks. That is all of them. And I say just treat everyone equally. So don't treat the quarterback with kitty gloves and all of a sudden say, well, no. He's going to have 5 incomplete, 5 off target throws a game. That's fine. But you, Mr. Receiver, you cannot drop one ball. De'Ami Brown, who had 6 of 7 against the Cincinnati Bengals, and he only dropped the one ball, but it just happened to be for a touchdown. And everyone was like, oh, that's rough for him. What are we? Come on. Like, I'm just saying, let's keep it a buck.
So, first of all, I will say amen to you treating dudes like grown amen. So, you set me up for that, dude. I'm sorry. But the other piece is, and I'm just going to put this as plainly as I can. I don't want to do the ZipRecruiter ad again, but receivers are more replaceable than quarterbacks as a rule, especially on this roster. So, I think that's where the gripe is, because that revolving door is what it is. Because at the end of the day, if things go wrong, oftentimes the Jacksonville Jaguars still have Brenton Strange, things like that. They're more inclined to make those demands of what's going on there. Travis hates Trevor confirmed. You see, that's what happens.
I can't stand y'all. When asking for equality across the roster becomes hate, we all got problems. We can't have basic conversations, man.
Let's bring it back to a positive light. Robert Kemp jumps in. Incredibly disappointed in myself that I'm this late. This is going to have to be my first and only channel that I have notifications for. Robert, the fact that you even typed that second sentence is why we dig you, regardless of when you come in. And that's the beauty of it, Robert. We have it on podcast. Do it on your time, man. Life happens. We ain't mad at you. We're not kids.
On demand still works. We appreciate you, bro.
Hey, to the choir you preach. And by the way, Tim Patrick about to catch 6 slants and drags. You know what? I'm here for it. Wait, what's this?
Yeah, so Robert asked, the drops have got to be mental, right? They've been catching passes since they were kids. So if it's mental, then let's put them in the room with white walls and have their hands only exposed to catch. What kind of Robert?
He's going full psychology.
Robert. Yeah, what kind of Arkham Batman scene you got going on, bro? I don't know what this is, but all right, cool. The passing game.
Vengeance.
Yeah,
I am the night.
Good. But the passing game has been rough, and I will agree with you on that, Topa. The passing game has been atrocious. It says Trevor's has bonehead passes, and BTJ and De'Ami and now Parker Washington have been bad. I don't agree with that. I'm being honest with you.
Yeah,
I actually don't agree with that take at all. Like, and I understand folks are going to be a little bit emotional because fans are fanatic. That's literally one of the base words. I get that, but yeah, Trevor's going to always have a bonehead play I can't say every game, but every few games probably. I think he has that little Josh Allen gene in him. Unfortunately, I've always thought that. And as long as you can get those high variance plays, those high level plays with those bonehead plays, you would accept them. Like that's fine from my perspective, anyways. But I don't believe that Diami has played badly. I don't believe necessarily that Parker Washington has played badly. I just didn't think he played great. But we just showed you all of his incompletions from Sunday's game.
Mm-hmm.
And the vast majority of those weren't his fault. He had the bad drop in the fourth quarter, and he's going to have to, that's one of those ones you step at night just like chewing on, just like, oh. But also, I didn't think it was necessarily a bad game, just to be honest with you guys.
Well, and I think we could close it out with this concept too before people start painting you, me, and the Duval dive as anti-Trevor, because we certainly aren't. For goodness sake, how much of the Duval dive live did we spend taking a victory lap trying to go when it comes to CJ Stroud? Is this your king? Okay, like I as the one who did it most. Actually, as a matter of fact,
I've been saying it for a full year and a half, and folks just la to me. We have been saying it for a year and a half. My apologies.
You, my friend, said it for a year and a half. I only said it for a year. You're the guy that came out on these streets right from jump and said
when it was unpopular,
long before it was cool, and said sophomore slump. I wasn't ready. Then I saw them lose Laramie Tunsil, and then I had your back.
Nah, I just said, hey man, this is folks can't have. I hate quarterback wins, people. Folks can't have conversations about the surrounding team around quarterbacks, and they can't. It breaks their brain. So I just like no. This is not about the quarterback. The quarterback's just doing fine. He's average or below average depending on the team situation. Like in CJ's case, I was just like, dude, this is not a quarterback conversation. You guys just don't see the forest from the tree. Like you're missing the point on here. I just thought Trevor Lawrence and CJ Stroud were very similar, with one with a significantly better situation. I think the evidence is kind of proving itself out. I thought Trevor Lawrence dragged Doug Peterson, and I think the evidence has proven that to be true. I thought Trent Baalke was a bad general manager, putting the surrounding staff around Trevor Lawrence, and the jury determined that was a like, hey, bro, this is family court right now, and I'm killing this, bro. I need to be an attorney.
With that all being said, I do think you and I both acknowledge that an uptick isn't just possible, but almost probable. I think it's something that's a very real occurrence, especially once the Jags get past that Lions den, that Lions den of their schedule, which upcoming features the 49ers.
You get that bye week, boy. This thing gonna get real nice real quickly.
Right, because upcoming, what is it? They have the Niners, they have the Chiefs,
the Niners, the Chiefs, the Seahawks, and the Rams,
and then the Chargers shortly after that too, I think. So
November 16th or something like that. Yeah.
So but again, to your point, clearing that bye week, it'll be very interesting to see where this team's at there in the passing game, and let them overplay the run game, and let defenses come in. You want to see an example of teams preparing for guys to run and they surprise other teams throwing the football? Just look to the San Diego Chargers. The conversation I've had on the Pulp Blitz Uncut is just because Jim Harbaugh is coaching doesn't necessarily mean they're running it. Just because Travis Etienne and this revamped O-line is doing things in the numbers, if the Jags could start connecting in the passing game, that's going to be special.
Boy, I mean, if they can just start connecting just a little bit more, just 2 less drops per game, just 2 less incomplete throws per game, then this team is not just 3-0. They're 3-0 and probably winning games by 2-score margin in most of the games. Like, that is how close this team is to exploding. So again, that's the positive takeaway we have for you guys. If there's anything, and I'm not here to blow smoke up I'm not here to just feed you sugar just because you want it. Like, I'm going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. And we've seen enough of the Travis hates Trevor. And then on a previous podcast, Trevor apologist. And then the previous podcast, Travis hates Trevor. No, man, I'm just telling you what the film says, bro. Like, whatever happens, happens. But that's the conversation. And I'm not softballing it at all. So the fact of the matter is the Jacksonville Jaguars are 2-1. They're 1-0 in the AFC South. And the Houston Texans probably aren't going to the playoffs. So your biggest competition right now is a Daniel Jones-led Indianapolis Colts. Hey, man, steal the show. Win the day. Like, this right there for you. That's it. Go do it. I'm here for it, bro. I'm loving watching it though.
I don't think we're going to do any better than that, though. I will say this: Topa in the comments dropped something about Liam Coen. I'm not reading it here because I'm saving that for a future episode because we need more time to get into that. But guys, Duval Divers, what a show! Travis D. Holmes, tell the world where you could be found.
Oh, well, I mean, I can be found on all the socials, Travis D. Holmes, but before I even get into that, stop. Click the like button. No, stop. Collaborate and listen. Whatever. But yeah, seriously, click the like button, like and subscribe. If you're listening to us on the podcast, please rate and review us, and don't be a hater and give us some 1-star reviews just because you are stop. 5-star reviews. Treat this like Uber. I need 5 stars right now. All right, cool. Click the like button, comments, help us with the algorithm. We appreciate you guys so much. And again, if you are listening to us, you are a Duval Diver. And if you're a Duval Diver since day one, we definitely appreciate you more than you can know, man. Give us any comments on the socials. It helps us also tremendously put these things together and lets us know what are you guys talking about in the streets. Like, that's kind of how we know what we want to talk about. So if you have a thought that's not ridiculously off the wall, we probably will have a conversation talking about it. I'm just being real about that because that's how we get down.
Don't be off the wall, but make sure it's a crackheady take, right?
Something like that. Yeah, but that's it. But please click that like button before you leave and help us out, and comment on the thread on the stream again. Help us out there. But you can find it right and covering the Jacksonville Jaguars. BigCatCountry.com. We already showed you the Wednesday injury report article on the site. Save that as your favorites. Travis D. Holmes on all the socials. Duval Dive on TikTok, the Duval Dive on YouTube, etc. And keep it locked in. We're going to have you guys covered with Friday's preview of the game in Santa Clara, California. What can you be found, sir?
Of course, I'm Kyle Nash, the student thing. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as a student of the game. Check out my writings on the Fans First Sports Network for your Jacksonville Jaguars. And this coming Monday, Magic Media Day, I will be in the place talking about this team that many are thinking is a threat to win the Eastern Conference there. Thanks for the shouts, by the way, Rafe Kim and Carlos Reyes. Listen, you guys in the comments make this show great every week right along with us. Thank you as well, Jags United. Jason Trent, man, always an honor, joy, and privilege. And not just because your hair is amazing. We love your support. And listen, with all that too. By the way, also, Kent Roberts, listen, thanks, man. I dig it, but you got to remember, I don't live in your district. I can't vote for you. Just reminding you. Okay. So with all that in mind, you can also catch me covering the UCF Knights football and basketball. Kansas State this weekend. I'll be covering that. Even though they're on the road with the Black and Gold Banneret.com and Night Shift podcast, as well as my work with the Bolt Blitz Uncut with Booga Peters, Buck D, and 80 Simons. I'm just a producer there, but I'll still do a dynamite drop in every now and again on that. So, guys, thank you again. Like I said, this comment section, to Travis's point, becomes our material. I call myself the student of the game, not to teach, but also to learn. You guys teach me things as well, so please keep them coming. An honor, joy, and privilege. I'm not like Doug Peterson claiming you don't know ball if you don't agree with me. That's not how this works. That's what I'm saying, Travis Holmes. Anyways, for my personal champion, Travis D. Holmes, all my Duval Divers in the comments, this is Kyle Nash, the student of the game. Until next time, everyone, class dismissed.